not a hero, he's a criminal. Shut up!
Hello, sirs and madams. Greetings. It's me, your buddy Admiral Teague. Welcome to Landman Live. And you know what? Merry Christmas from Midland or New York, wherever you want to imagine the show is coming to you from. I am joined by my pals, Radioactive and Germ, and we send a hello out to our pal, Crimwan. Crimwan, not feeling so great tonight. He's not going to be able to landman with us, but you know what? We will land our way through this on our own. Hello, Miskatonic, and hello, Trek Reviewer. Hey, LDG, what's going on? Tell your friends about us. Tweet out that we're live. Hit those live. Hit those likes, and let us know in the comments. We don't have a ton of people here, so we can read everybody's reactions. Tell us your thought about episode 6. It had the very important title of Dark Night of the Soul. So knowing what's going on here, I'm going to start by lobbing one right over the net to Germ. Germ, what did you think of tonight's episode, sir? And hello to everybody.
I had a nice and calm episode, especially compared to earlier in the season.
I would agree.
Mainly character stuff, nothing too hard hitting. So a good change of pace.
It was a good change of pace. It was a well-paced episode, too. By the way, if you're on the landscape feed, on the vertical feed, there's some ads. But if you go to the landscape feed, there are no ads. And it's pinned to the top of the feed, the chat in the vertical. So you can go there and make it to the landscape view. Radioactive, what did you think of this episode 6, Dark Night of the Soul?
Pretty good episode. It was definitely a character-driven episode versus some of the other ones we've had.
Yes.
In the past. So, yeah, I think this gives us a lot more insight, specifically into Andy Garcia's character, I think, amongst others. And Sam.
Yeah. Sam Elliott's character is just like an exploration of what makes him tick, and we find out that he is just like, I wouldn't say a one-note character, but he is particularly obsessed with Dorothy, his ex-wife, his former wife. I guess he was still married to her when she died. He says that like she'd been kind of mentally checked out for a super long time. He sees some people from his past, and it's just some skanky jailbird. Hail, Mr. Wilson, how you doing? Do you think the drug dealer will take over the business? I think that it's going to come down to probably gun barrel to gun barrel over it. By the way, if you're on, as I said, if you're on the vertical feed, there are ads. If you're on the landscape feed, there are none, and you can switch over by going to the pinned link at the top of this chat if you're on the vertical feed. So with that, the episode opens up with a really complete best of, like leading up to previously on, that goes by pretty quick. And we see some of Midland before we join Tommy in his living room, and he's listening to the DJs that usually drive him nuts. The sun's already up, but he's having some coffee. And, there he is, all 9.5 fingers with his cowboy hat on, just yelling at the radio, but basically muttering in anger at the radio and chugging coffee. Of course he drinks it black. He's a real cowboy. And this is kind of familiar territory. We've seen him do both of these things before, but we're mixing together, two things that he hasn't done at the same time before. We've seen him skulking around the house, chugging coffee before work. We've seen him muttering and yelling at the DJs. This is kind of well-established ground, and it leads up to a conversation with Sam Elliott, and we're a little bit past watching The View. He's not going to try that, and Tommy says, he never wants to see the sun rise again when he's done being a landman. Guess saying he's going to sleep late all the time. And Thomas, he really cherishes the sunrise and the sunset. I don't know what it has to do with anything except that he's really focused on time, wasting away the moments that make up a dog day. I don't know. What did you guys think of this opening sequence where we have Landman and Father? They're kind of hanging out at the rent house, and some early morning solitude before things really get going. I guess the sun may have just come up. Thomas likes this kind of stuff. He's like a lizard that way. Jerome, let's start with you.
It's well established that TL likes the sunrise and the sunset, so he's just contemplating life at this point. Not really much to that.
Closest thing to peaceful we've seen him, though. He's not agitated or angry or wound up or having any sort of real problems. He relates to his son fairly well, and I thought it was like a good opening sequence. Radioactive, did you have any thoughts of Tommy and Thomas interacting here at the beginning? Kind of getting a little talk about seizing life by the horns and how things aren't so bad for Tommy as he thinks they are, and it could be worse. You could have a life like mine, son. Basically, is the lesson that he's telling him here, or I don't know if it's a lesson or whatever, the wisdom he's imparting or the experience he's sharing. Not very hopeful, but he certainly seems to think that Tommy's in better shape than he is.
Well, yeah, but I thought it was a little comical. I kind of saw where that was going. You knew he was going to end up going with Tommy to his for his business trip.
Yeah, he's going to ride all day with Tommy to what is it? He's going to go to Fort Worth, I guess.
Yeah, he's going to Fort Worth.
And now it's only 3 hours. He says, or maybe they're a while into the drive. It's supposed to take about 4 hours. Tommy can do it in 3:20, 3:15. And Barney at the bar thinks he's nuts for this, but that's how Landman gonna land, and that's his thing. They go back into the house. They see Ainsley and they see Angela. They talk to both of them. They're looking lovely and acting crazy as they always do. Ainsley is beautiful, and she doesn't say anything overly crazy here. And the one thing Jerm and everyone else noticed was I don't know if the color changed or she just didn't have it and then she did, but it seemed like she had one bra and then another, or no bra and then a bra in this scene. Did anybody notice that? Wardrobe
I think
malfunction?
They couldn't pull it off without a bra, so they just filmed the rest of it with the bra.
Or the bra is so distinctive it was out of continuity. It's hard to say. Like, this episode may have been chopped up and some of it put into the previous episode to make up for whatever it is they wanted out of there. Because we do see a different relationship with some of our characters soon. So we'll get to that. We're going to touch on a lot of our different parties today. And then we go to the the Exton County Convention Center. We're having all sorts of like little meet and greets and hangouts for different landmen, and we're seeing the different stuff that people have. And like one place that we're going to stop at is like the rodeo. We go to 3 different trade shows. Some people go to a rodeo. Some people go to, what would it be, Germ? The Petroleum Industry Equipment Convention, where they give you free ribs and hot sauce, but you also can buy like several like front loading tractors and other like labor saving devices, as well as advanced wellhead tops.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the horse show is the horse show. That is what it is. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Dale seems to think of it as a place to collect hot sauces.
I don't know if there's going to be a. It seemed like they were setting up that hot sauce. They very carefully show him putting it in his pocket. Let's see if it comes back to haunt us. Like, watch at the end of the at the end of the second season, they'll have Ainsley get the letter from her stepfather, and we'll have who got mentioned today, and we'll have Dale pull out the hot sauce.
Or maybe we'll find out that Andy Garcia has a corner on the hot sauce business somewhere too.
Yeah, Andy Garcia might. This was the one part of the episode that kind of bothered me. Boss and his crew are they're with Dale at the Petroleum Industry like labor saving device convention. They meet the Lucas Oil girls. They do a lot of stuff. It's kind of fun. It's a light day for Boss and the crew. But the thing that really upset me was they didn't even talk about their friend Teague. Teague got hit with the cloud of, please say the name, guys. You know exactly what it's called. The gas that leaked. H2S?
Hydrogen sulfide.
Is it? But did I get the right chemical name? Is it H2S or is it HF2?
Yes.
H2S.
H2S.
Right. Okay, so it's Van Halen 2S. This H2S gas is this stuff was portrayed in a way that conformed with everything we read about it, with everything everyone knew about it. Could things have gone differently in the real world? Yes. Could they have gone the way they went in the show? They were so logical. The gas is heavier than air. They're rescued via helicopter. There was a lot of people overwhelmed by it. It was odorless. No one saw it coming. The alarms saved Dale and some of the other guys. Jerome got caught on top of the tower. I didn't read anything about what it could do to your eyes, but I did read it could burn your skin, so it makes sense it could F up your eyes, if I remember correctly. The bottom line is they kept very close to reality and real rules. And the thing that we didn't realize is it's a little out of sequence. Like Tommy finds out about the leak. Then he finds out that it's bad and he sees Teague at the hospital, Gerald Teague. And then later on, he gets a phone call from Nate where he tells him that the wellhead is the wellhead farm and the tank where the oil is, where the leak was surrounded by dead hunters and dead pigs, and the whole area has been devastated by what happened. And Tommy's like, hell. And it just kind of seems like he should have known this 2 episodes ago. Are we living parts of 3 different days all at once because of the intercutting of episode 5 to make it... there was some kind of damage control possibly last week, which wasn't a bad episode, but seemed like it had been fixed. Germ, thoughts on this week's continuity? Little bit off, not crazy, but a little.
It goes back to where it should be this week. The last 2 weeks seems like they cut things out of order, but they did a good job recovering this week.
They just had a bit of a redundant conversation. It was like, remember that thing you know about? Let me talk about it as if you never heard about it before. And it was like, huh? But it was a good enough time to catch us up anyway, because we didn't really deal with it much last week, except to have Tommy say that he'd seen Teague at the hospital. And you know what? I still think that this is probably a show where Teague is going to raise to be probably a prominent character. And by the end of this, he'll be number 1 Landman, owning most of the patch. But that's just because he has a great name. I don't have anything else to go on. Yeah, exactly. They do talk about this. There's going to be less need for amount of roughnecks on a well, Miskatonic. And, you'll have less people that you can accidentally kill off with your gas leak. But yeah, there's a way it's going to be labor saving. It's not exactly AI, but it's tech pushing into an industry, and each and every one of these guys make $170,000 a year. So if you get rid of 3 of them, that's 10% of working over one of your old wellheads. So
yeah, but did you
found
notice
out
Dale was not impressed?
Dale was only just so impressed because he was only there for the free food. His boss buys that stuff, and his boss is busy doing palace intrigue. I think the fact that Tommy didn't bother going to this is going to come back to haunt M-Tex. They might be technologically left behind. And you know what, by the way, could we please get remote-controlled drone trucks that aren't as deadly as the trucks that M-Tex uses? Everybody's trucks
has to stop parking on their road.
And stop deleting yourself on their road. Yes, it's Chekhov's hot sauce. It was made in Russia. You know what? Yeah, we've loaded the hot sauce into Dale's pocket. Yeah, I don't know where they're going with that. I would think that there is some future for that story, but we don't know yet. And anyway, at any rate, Boss is so afraid of his wife, he can't get his picture taken with the equivalent of the Hawaiian Tropic Girls, the Lucas Oil Girls. And we show all the branding. And we go to these conventions so that we can show off branding. And it's fine. It gets the show's mission accomplished with minimal damage, but it's a little bit just... While it is gratuitous, they managed to wrap the story around it. I don't know. Is this just Taylor Sheridan's lack of funding from Paramount showing through? Gentlemen, what did you think of this damage control income producing episode? Especially this part.
This is a good scene.
It actually was a good
scene. This scene.
Yeah, because of the Lucas Oil Girls.
Not necessarily as money producing as you may think, because this is accurate.
This is accurate because this is the kind of thing you go to. It's just that we get to see everybody's brand and everybody's branding. And let's just take a look at the Lucas Oil girls. They are beautiful. They pose for pictures. They look great. And our land dudes are really happy to meet them. And they're like, don't you want to be in a picture? It's like, I'll take the picture. And they're like, why don't you want to be in a picture with us? It's like, no way, ma'am. Thank you. I don't want my wife to see me on Instagram. And they're kind of impressed, even though these guys are making about 200 grand. And if you're boss, probably a bit more. And like, what does a Landman make? 750,000 a month? Was that what they said last year? Or last episode? Crazy money for a Landman.
About $500,000 a year.
That's crazy. How could he make $500,000 a year when his land dudes make like 300,000? It's not enough of a salary differential. He needs to make like, you know what I mean? He needs to make $750,000. I guess he makes 750. But Cooper will be a discount Landman because he doesn't know anything. He has 1 day of on-the-job field training and 1 day of on-the-job management training. Both of these things just did not go well in a big way. And this guy's a guardian. Do you remember this guy's name? Is it Running Joke?
Chicote?
Chipotle. So Running Joke is like, he's a little bit like, they're all kind of impressed by the amount of technology. They're all impressed by the amount of hot women that have been thrown their way to attract their time and their money. But like, let's remember, these guys are like, they're not very high up on the M-Tex payroll, and they're like, you know, these guys are, you know, making, you know, come on, $175,000 a year is not a joke. So everybody here has money and speaks in $100 bills. They sort of have an FU attitude about everything. They've got plenty of money, and we're seeing some of the innovation in tech. I believe this was loading tech, and we hear about the wellhead tech. And then 9 minutes in, we decide, let's do our credits. It was the furthest. Well, like, I am convinced that, like, we're going to get to an episode where we're going to get to, like, minute 40, and this will happen. So our credits later and later every week, and then we drop back into the rhythm of what's going on. And for some reason, this seemed to me like a repeat beat. We bring back the situation with Elvio's grandmother. Germ was pretty specific. He caught this quickly. This is not Elvio's mom. This is Elvio's grandmother, which means that Elvio was maybe the son of the character played by Michael Pena. Was it Armando?
No, he was the youngest brother.
He was the youngest brother.
Yeah.
So this is everybody's grandma. So she has a 55-year-old grandson, and she's 63. She looks great for somebody who had a 61-year-old grandson. She really does. Whatever. They're not around to remind us of how incongruous it is.
Hey,
but
once that quinceanera hits, it's anyone want to marry her. That's just how it goes.
I'm talking about.
I'm sure Grandma there at the quinceanera, it was arranged that, hey, let's
about 3-4 years down the road, she'll be married. You should start a long traditional courtship now. Well, let's not go there. Let's stay away from Steinep's Pleasure Planet. But yeah, like whatever. Grandma is only like 10 years older than Michael Pena, so it's a little weird. They do, you know, but whatever. He's not on the scene to remind us. He's been gone since episode 1, where he gets kapow-powed, or is it episode 2? And she talks about, you know, how she's in pain, and now they have the grandchild. And she's like, the one thing that's going good is work. And she's like, yeah, you know, why are you working? You have all that money. And she says, well, no, I put it away for Miguel, her son. So now we have the reason why she works the patch. She's a good person. This washes off what's going on with Cooper to a great deal. There's going to be a couple of $1 million, and maybe more if she did it any due diligence and put it in like a long-term savings account or something like that, or, you know, a high interest yield or something that can make him some more money. He's going to have a decent amount of money when this kid hits 21. He'll at least have college free and clear, or whatever the kid wants to do with this money, become a landman, speculate, or just have the money. She's put all of the money that Elvio generated by getting, you know, his life savings and his death benefit are away, locked up for the kid. And so that kind of wins the respect of the grandmother. She knows what's up with Cooper. Ariana admits what's up with Cooper, and they're going to kind of agree that it's all right. And she's like, "You're a young woman. You'll have passion in your life again. I don't really mind you seeing this skinny white boy," I think she calls him. And she's like, "Yeah, you're still a young woman with passion in her heart." And she's like, "You got that right. And I can't wait until we can get married so I can actually, let this show admit that we're having sex, because no one can tell yet." Although Germ says it's heavily implied, and I would agree it's heavily implied. I would say it's equally heavily implied that we should be wondering how far it really is going. It might just be like, let's just say their relationship may be really mouthy or handsy. I don't know. She's weird about her religion, although workarounds seem to be everybody's specialty in this show. Does anyone want to say whether or not they've gone all the way? We'll put it that way.
I thought it was implied.
I still feel like it's 50-50.
The implication is more for TV rating than anything else.
It is implied rather than said outright, but I just feel like she's such a weirdo. And also, I can picture her doing some of these things that don't involve actual physical sex with like the look of a mad woman in her eyes while she does it too. She plays slightly crazy fairly well, Julia Chavez. So at any rate, she says, the patch, not so bad. I can make a bunch of money there. It's pretty good. And like with what I make there, I'll pay off my house. I'll, take care of things. And you know what? My kid will have a good future. And I'm around most of the time. I only work 2 days a week. Hell. And Grandma's like, "I'm down with that, but I want this little boy to come over here and look me in the eye." And while she doesn't really have the right to say what goes on in Ariana's life, because her grandson will call this guy dad, since she's willing to write off Elvio as an unlucky asshole and not think about him anymore, I guess she should at least check out Cooper. And then we have the based conversation between Tommy and his dad. But before that, what did you guys think of the chemistry and the message and the overall vibe between Ariana and her grandmother and her baby's grandmother, great grandmother?
It was a good conversation. I thought where it fell flat was when Cooper dropped by.
Yeah,
I didn't get the confidence that he really wanted to marry her.
and something's wrong with Michael Pena being her grandson too. He might be her brother or her nephew. The other kid, like Elvio, definitely is her grandson. Michael Pena is only like 8 years younger than that lady.
Well, maybe he was playing somebody a bit younger.
It's possible. I don't know. Yeah, everybody's about 10 years younger than how they appear, or can flexibly be 10 years older. Like last week, John Fetterman should only be like 55, but I guess he looked it. He was the one person who was on point. But then Tommy and Thomas, have a conversation in the pickup truck, and he's like, "Are you going to talk my ear off all the way to Fort Worth?" And he's like, "All right, I guess I'll just look out the window. But I'm sorry, your mom really was special. You shouldn't hold anything against her." And he's like, "Just shut up about mom." Then we get a scene with and Cooper calls Tommy to tell him that, he's going to marry Ariana, which we've already heard. And now he needs a ring. So Tommy, against his better judgment, without thinking of it, just goes, "Well, I don't know about that. Hell, call your mother." And Jerem, what did you think of that exchange and what happens from it, and how it ends up being Angela's call and what to do with the ring?
As he said the words, he can feel the money leaving his wallet.
Tries to buy it back right away.
Yeah, he had his crap. I said the wrong thing.
Yeah, he was like, "Wait, no, don't call your clique." It was pretty funny. I enjoyed that sequence, to be honest with you. And then we cut over to Angela, and she's going to get that phone call from Cooper about what he should do with this ring situation. But first, we find out that Ainsley and Angela are working out. And she gave the kid who works at the fitness club $100 to crank up the heat. This is West Texas, and we're getting towards June. It's already really hot in there. The air
So
conditioning
not
is
so
not
much
going to
turn
cut
up
it.
the heat. He just turned off the air conditioning.
Probably did just turn off the air conditioning. By the time the air conditioning catches back up, it'll be next fall. This is going to change the fate of this club for months and months. If you live down south, you know this could take us like 3 days for the air conditioner to bounce back from what they've done. But Angela, like with her crazy ideas, she's actually like Khan would love Angela. She's got a eugenics outlook about how they have to like work out and look hot or be worthless. And then she gets the call from Cooper where he's like, I need to get a ring for my girlfriend. What do I do? And she's like, spend about 25 grand. He's like, what? The sales catalog says like less than half that. And she's like, you don't want to listen to normal advice from people who aren't insane. You want like, insane advice from your mother who's completely out of her damned mind. And she gives him the advice to just come by her place and take her ring from her first marriage. And then she goes back in, and Ainsley and her have a conversation about Cooper. And she once again says that she hates him and scoffs at him. Guys, she hasn't been too mean lately, but one thing that they're not backing off of is she really hates Cooper. Let's talk about her feelings towards her brother and how weird it is, and Angela's strange eugenics outlook on pheromones and why you would hate your brother anyway. It was so weird.
And that's so weird. All of her all she was spewing off was actually based on fact.
I thought it was comical, Teague.
I agree.
As far as those two not getting along with each other, who knows? Maybe we'll have a flashback sequence that gets to the actual point of why they don't get along.
It was just
maybe Cooper hit her when they were young.
I still think that my theory from last week is going to be I'm going to stay with it for a while. I'm still happy with because Tommy and Angela should never be married and don't have anything in common and aren't a good couple. And the only thing they do doesn't involve talking and getting along. That works anything out. Angela basically confirms that she's like, you got pheromones where you can't have sex with him, but you like flirty fat the way your father and I did. So because you can't go all the way and do anything with your brother, we hope, you guys are destined to hate each other because he's just like his father and you're just like me. And you can't work it out the only way the two of us can. Germ, what do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
And then
they're pretty much clones of their parents, and
they can't work it out the only way the parents can. And of course, hey, Landman fans, Michelle Randolph's dating Glenn Powell. If you're watching on the Vert screen, there's ads. If you want to jump over to the landscape stream, sirs and madams, we don't have ads, and you can try the veal. Also here on the landscape stream, you get the full experience, and we would love to get 30 likes on it if you could. And that Vert stream goes away anyway because that's just the way it is. So you know what? I'll turn on the cam and I'll say, you know what? There's never been a better time to join us on the landscape stream, where you'll enjoy watching our show. I hope. But and you get a better view of Ainsley and Angela, who, and if nothing else, look fantastic. I thought that this was another scene where Angela was just really devious, really weird. Miskatonic said it, but it's true. She's just saying this so that she can get another ring from Tommy. In the last 3 episodes, she's what? In the last 4 episodes, she's jacked a Bentley. She's got a new house bought for her to keep her quiet. Had like 20 grand thrown to her just to throw one dinner. And this week is going to get like a $200,000 diamond. So do I have that about right?
The proportions are a bit off, but yeah, for the most part.
How much do you want? What does she want? A $700,000 diamond?
Probably about 100, Sal.
So you think I'm guessing high? I don't think if you gave Andrew a $300,000 diamond, she would not be impressed. Though she would still tell you to try to do better next time.
Yeah,
right?
Maybe we just take it at the halfway point. Say 250. The price is right.
Let's say you gave her a diamond that was double the price of what she was expecting. She would still probably act disappointed and tell you next time, try to do better.
Oh,
Am I-
it's Angela.
Is that
What do you
Angela? Yeah,
expect?
Angela.
Yeah.
She's never going to be nice.
Well, that's why she's buying the ring herself. She's not going to leave it up to Tommy.
Is it insane that when I got married, I told my wife to just take X amount of money and go buy a ring?
I don't know. It depends what you consider to be X amount of money. That could be a
And
very
if she actually
expensive
sticks
proposal.
to the X.
It was
X
about how
times
much.
50.
No, it was like, say, 40% of what Cooper wanted to spend rather than what Angela wanted to spend. It was a decent amount of money. It was also like 20 years ago where that money went further. So, I mean, it wasn't a kooky amount of money. But it was, take X amount of money and just get the ring yourself. So that you love it. Then I'll give it back to you when I know for sure you want it.
If Tommy were smart, what he'd
We
tell
wouldn't have a
Angela,
show.
He'd just say, "Well, you know what? I didn't get you a diamond. I got you a whole bag of them. Then bring in the bag of Kingsford charcoal briquettes."
Make Rebecca swallow them and be like, I'll have some diamonds for you in about 3 days.
There you go.
All right, so Ainsley and Angela at the fitness club, give their final summation. I'm going to get yet another new diamond. And Cooper, we did it to help out Cooper. And then, Tommy and TL having another based conversation in the truck, needling each other. I believe this is where Landpa tells Landman that he's sorry that Landma was a bitch, but she was really pretty cool. And when they lost the daughter to SIDS, it really fucked him up too. And it's not like he carried the child. So he gets why Dorothy became nuts. Okay, so what is he saying here? They're just having a back and forth about how they're both crotchety sons of bitches?
This is the monkey on the dog talk.
That's right. This is basically picking up on the demon's going to come out of the bushes and have its way with me. Yeah. He's like, your loft's crazy. You're just a monkey riding the back of a dog, which, by the way, I would pay to see. And again, if you're on the vertical stream, you can use the link at the top of the chat there to jump over to the landscape stream where there are no commercials. And we're breaking down Landman episode 6. But wow, 40 people. Hello, sirs and madams, over on the vertical stream. It's good to see you all. So at any rate, we switch venues. We're in Dallas-Fort Worth. And also in Dallas-Fort Worth, we've got Rebecca. And she's talking to Nathan, who is basically trying to work something out here where they can work together. And he's got a few things about this contract that she's trying to work out with the other people who own the rights for the offshore drilling well. And she's got to get up to speed on everything and meet with their specialist, Mr. Newsom. And we all saw where this one is going. The thing is, this scene where he sets up the meeting with Newsom is more about her and Nate sort of trying to work out a way that they can be co-workers without it always being horribly adversarial. That was my read. What did you guys think? Like, even she was not nice, but Rebecca was not her usual horrific self to Nathan.
This, I think, was supposed to be before she met him on the plane. From whatever order they filmed this was beforehand. She goes from here, gets on the plane, meets with him, sleeps with him, and then finds out the next morning that, oh yeah, you're that geologist I'm supposed to talk to.
I don't know if it's out of order, but the dinner was shoehorned into the middle and she's there alone. Episode 2 happens like in ignorance of episodes 4 and 6's events with Rebecca and Newsom. Which is the only name we get from him, and we get it from Nate. The show is usually good about using and reusing people's names. So Rebecca calls out Nate again, treats him fairly mean, but not as mean as we've seen a lot of people be to Nate. Nate just gets the worst of it in this show. And
You mean Neil?
he gets called Neil a couple of times too. Yeah, he's gonna have time to be called Neil. Then we go to the George W. Bush rodeo.
Well,
to see Borat sing the national anthem.
As a side note, when Rebecca's really going to start being mad at Nathan is when she starts calling him Neil.
Yeah, and she says no, I'm dehumanizing you and dead naming and fake naming you because I just don't. You're going to play the game my way. You've been a little too willful and individualistic so far. It was sort of a crazy thing to say, sirs and madams. But here at the rodeo, Andy Garcia is I guess in this show, people move on quick from their dead spouse. She's not going to try to make any ceramics to bring Monty's Force Ghost back to tell her why you left her so fucked over. She's hanging out with Andy Garcia, who has a 40-year-old wife. And I don't know why these two are so attracted to each other. And not yet physical, but it seems to be moving more or less in that direction, which almost doesn't really make sense.
They're just negotiating.
They are just negotiating. It's a dance.
It's his horse. That's why they're there. It's not any type of romantic thing that they're plotting towards. It's just when you're in that many high-end stuff, you have to multitask.
It was kind of cool to put them in a location different than we've seen them before and give them a chance to sort of, show all right, we're super rich oil people. And, one guy's an oil man, a Sicario, a mobster, and a Scarface. And he's got nothing but money. He's the only one whose money is secure. He's I have far better things to spend my money on than oil. I sell drugs. But he's got nothing but cash, and he's got a horse that he uses to launder the money, as Tommy puts it. And them and Tommy are on a collision course as far as they're going to have another conversation that may fall under the words confrontation again. But first he tells TL, stay out of trouble. I'll see you in a few minutes, Dad. And we have all the product placement in the world where he goes to the branded hat booth and talks to the hat booth guy about how he wouldn't buy a hat if he had hair that great, as we were saying before. And I guess this was just all the product placement to help this episode to help this show was in this episode. And I guess the only way to put it is get it out of the way first. And there was a symmetry to having everyone go to conventions at the same time. So I guess this was the way to do it, and they crafted a good episode around all this product placement. It's hard to explain. But Sam Elliott just goes around basically being charming as hell and being Sam Elliott. Then, oh my gosh, Tommy, what are you doing here? I just came over here to talk about how dangerous and messed up everything is. And they have a conversation about all the money in play. And while that's going on, this guy, a local jailbird, recognizes TL, and Sam Elliott is chatting with him. And he's like, oh, I'm just in jail for bouncing checks, which is yeah, okay, he's in jail. Maybe you shouldn't believe what he says, but I guess the show's disposition is that's why he's in jail. I didn't know what to exactly make of it, Jerem. What did you think? You muted, unless you're AFK.
I didn't quite expect it to go the way it did, but maybe I shouldn't have been surprised by it.
While not surprised, I did not see it coming either. Hey, Lombardi, hello. It's good to see you. I'm sorry I didn't see you come in, my friend. I apologize. I'm a little bit focused on the episode. These Landman things, and did I say hi to Trek Viewer? I think I did. The Dead Man, hello. Mr. Wilson, hello, sir. I'm sorry, guys, I'm a little behind on the greetings. The Landman ones, hello, Clayus, SAB. I try to get the Landman episodes in a certain amount of time, and the last few have been real dense with events. This one we're in the middle already, so who knows? We've got like a lot of character acquisition and stuff to talk about, but this episode was much more efficient and only about an hour long. It was 53 minutes as opposed to 66, so 13 minutes shorter than last week. So we're shorter than the last two episodes. Was this episode chopped up and parceled out over the last two to induce some kind of braking maneuver? I don't know, but it made sense. It would make sense that it did. At any rate, Thomas sort of takes a turn towards the cantankerous. He's like, why are you talking to me now, jailbird? We didn't talk. We never really talked much anyway. And I'm thinking to myself, Thomas probably doesn't talk much, just like Tommy doesn't talk much. And they're becoming slightly confrontational. And that's when we step away for a moment and we see Rebecca goes to one of these work camp places where you have your work village with a bunch of bungalows, and she meets their expert. Why they're I don't know. I guess he's got every sort of expertise. He's at the camp in the basin or whatever at the patch, yet he's going to help them drill offshore. I guess the skills could transfer, but he has to bring her up to speed on gas field drilling. And he's like, oh, don't worry, it's far more forgiving than drilling for oil. And, to which I say, this rig has already been destroyed once. And she's a little leery of him because they've had sex already. And they got wasted on that plane ride where she finally had some fun. And he grabs a couple of beers and they go out to the truck to talk. And there's a little bit of chemistry right away. Cutting back to the horse show, Andy Garcia's got a few ideas about how they should proceed financially. Great, it's such a handsome guy. Let's get you a better look for Andy there. He's saying, I am the solution, and my horse Dark Knight of the Soul, is going to help us out big time, and we will be. Yeah, and guys, we got a lot of people watching the vertical stream. If you're interested, jump on over to the landscape stream for an even better experience with no commercials. And join my channel. You know what? We do this every week for Landman. We're about halfway through this episode. We're still hammering out the fine points of how we're going to finance this offshore oil well. A $500 million endeavor. Sure. Sir.
Yes.
What were your thoughts about the beginnings of, the guts of this episode where Landman is having his conversations with Andy Garcia? Demi Moore is just like, she's hard charging forward on this oil well in the Gulf. Tommy knows they have to do it, but he's far from as enthused about it. She's starting to seem a little laissez-faire about the whole thing. And Andy Garcia is just like, all the charm of Christopher Lee in Man with the Golden Gun. He's kind of the most refined villain ever. And Tommy just says to him, you're just using this to wash off your money, your racehorse. And he doesn't say shit. Just sort of, preens. I thought this was a pretty good scene. And your thoughts on this up to now?
It was a very good scene. Probably would have been better without Demi Moore there. So they could have really cut loose. But I guess they didn't have the time for that.
I think the deal is
Demi Moore anymore.
I think maybe they wanted her there to keep it from boiling over yet, because it boiled over 2 episodes back and it was simmering last episode. So maybe they wanted to simmer for a while longer before people mutually lose their shit again. Because when these characters get angry, they get really, really angry. So we get the hat company in there one more time. Buy an American hat, made in America. And then Thomas started a fight. He punched that crazy old jailbird who was giving him a hard time. And they hear everything going on, and TL wants to go over there, and he's like, upbraids his father. What the hell are you doing? And like the 80-year-old guy just threw like the 75-year-old guy over the seats down onto his head. Like the 75-year-old guy should probably be dead. And the 80-year-old guy is one badass 80-year-old. He's the 80-year-old I want to be. Beating people down and like chatting with the barely legal chicks. He's living his best life. Why he is so miserable and upset about Dorothy still. I mean, okay, I get it. He was in love, but you know what? Like, this is the best it's been in a real long time, Landpa. Calm down. Tommy tells him to get it together. Landpa is basically almost out of control, but they're able to get it. They're able to get this. Sorry, they're able to get Landpa's problems under wraps because, as bad as it is, the guy that he messed with is just a jailbird on work release. There's Sam Elliott knocking out. Good old rodeo fight, guys. And then Tommy finds out that, yeah, this was all over his mother, who was a disaster. But this looks like, are these the guys, some of the guys from Cammy's security who are going to cover this up for him? Not that it's important, but these guys are credentialed and they know Tommy.
They're
These
event
are
security.
event security? Yeah, okay.
They might have doubled up on the actors, but it's event security.
Good call, and you might be right. All right, so the event, they say this guy is just some kooky jailbird. We're not going to do anything he said. He's not going to say anything anyway. And Tommy goes out there and he's like, you know, just please let my dad go. He's a crazy old man. And then Cammy and Tommy sort of dust it up again over whether or not it's a good idea to be friendly with Andy Garcia. Then he goes and talks to his dad, and his dad's like, take me back to the old folks' home. It's not going to work. And he's like, Dad, this is better for you. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. This is where he says, I know that you're mad at me for staying with your mother, but it's not her fault that she was so angry and bitter. In fact, what happened to her was so bad it messed me up too. This is that moment. Am I correct, guys?
Right. This is where it said it broke him and his mother, but it scrambled her soul.
That was the best line of this week. He has the line of the week. It scrambled their soul. It was kind of like very Angel Heart, like the egg, the soul, scrambling your soul, like deviled eggs, and sort of like this woman lived in hell. Like Sam Elliott said, her life was hell, and that if he ever saw her again, he would be in hell. So there's kind of like these pretty cool literary allusions that are like not exactly on the nose, but I thought intriguing. I don't know, Radioactive, what did you think of Thomas's trip to the horse show and his meltdown and his, like, you know, angry and tearful, sort of regretful confession? Maybe I did waste my life, but damn it, I would do it again just to try to unfuck what happened.
I think this was probably, one could easily argue, the best scene for this episode. This dialogue between father and son here.
Probably, no doubt. Probably without a doubt. I don't think anything comes close. This is a very powerful scene with two of the best actors we have on our show. And they have a quiet moment together before they decide, you know what, you know, Dad, you crazy old bastard. I still kind of love you, but yeah, you really did done mess up by staying with Mom. She was a real ass. Then Angela gets to Fort Worth. She's going to set money on fire. And they ask her, you know, Miss Russo, and she's like, I'm Mrs. Norris now. And they say to her, should we still bill the Russo account? And she's like, yeah, sure.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? I don't give a shit about Victor. I'm keeping the engagement ring he gave me, though.
Still have the platinum card, so yeah, put it on that one.
It feels like Victor's not being ever shown, but his presence in their life, maybe that envelope that's going to Ainsley will show up. That weird MacGuffin that it felt like it was thrown in as an option, but they can still use it. And maybe, I don't know, like, he's really powerful. And if he's super mad, he could break Tommy for fun. He builds hotels is what we found out. He's like a Trump style guy. She's
Wouldn't
like
it be
mistake
interesting
wife
if they're
number
setting
2,
him
right?
up for season 3 to come back into the show as a counterweight to Andy Garcia?
I think it would be better if he came back into the show as a guy running for president and she turned out to be like the second wife, Marla Maples type. And now he's married to his true love, is Melania. But whatever. So Angela's going to burn more money and get a new ring. She's in Fort Worth ring shopping. She has to go there anyway to hang out with Ainsley and get Ainsley to school. We have more product placement. When we hang out with Wolverine here, we drink Stella. This guy is like Hugh Jackman. He looks a little like Wolverine. He knows his shit. He's bringing her up to speed. The impression I got was he was just the best guy around and he could tell her enough that she needs to know. And she impulsively hires him to run the whole thing. And that maybe he's in a little over his head because he's excited to get it like he hasn't gotten this level before. And she is sort of immediately intoxicated by seeing him again and maybe just a little bit buzzed from the beer because we don't know how long they're away there they're out there talking. We step away. They could be talking all afternoon, getting her up to speed. She could have like 3 or 4 beers. She's a tiny little woman, despite the fact she has a great ass and she can really pump iron. Jerem thinks this was out of sequence. It might have been. It wouldn't have taken much to fix it. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to dwell on that part of it. It's what happened now. It's our story now. What did you think of Rebecca hanging out with Newsom again? And obviously, he charms the pants off her one more time after he brings her up to speed, and she gives him a big promotion. And this is the second time she accuses people of being improper at work and says she's taking it to HR. And he's like, "You're the one who violated HR. You can't date subordinates. You're my boss." I thought that this showed that she could actually be a little bit of fun. If you notice in the middle of this, after he bests her intellectually like twice, or at least stops her arguments, foils them in her tracks, she smiles and she's nicer in a snarky way, but she's nicer and a little bit warmer. What did you guys think of this sequence with Rebecca and Newsom?
I had said before that they were going to set up this relationship between these two. This was going to continue. What I didn't expect was that he was going to turn out to be the geologist. That's the only
I had
part
a funny
that
feeling he
surprised
had
me.
some expertise. He should just be some roughneck though. You're right. Although, like when he was on the private plane, like you guys were like, "No way," and I'm like, "Well, the roughnecks make about $200,000," and they're like, that you guys were like, "It still seems a little, disproportionate for his means," and I'm like, "Huh, you're right. Maybe he has some expertise." And it turns out that we were all right. It was too much money for any old roughneck. And he did have some expertise, and that's why his house is so nice, and that's why. And he's just living out here in the field. Who knows? Maybe he's on a geology errand for him, and whatever. He's got his Australian styling. He's got his earring in the right ear for if you're straight in America, which is the left ear. I don't know if they have the same outlook as us in New Zealand. I just know that in England, I think it's the other way around. Then we get back with Landman and Landpa. They're just sort of relating to each other here. And talking more about the memories. And we basically get a pretty good idea that Tommy's childhood was pretty haunted. And then Ariana, oh boy, she looks really crazy here, doesn't she? That was a great moment to catch her. So she just has super psycho eyes, and they're not quite looking in the same direction, yet she has slightly lazy eye here. They're not tracking perfectly, but here she looks beautiful. And does Cooper seem a tad jealous that she's going to the Patch Cafe dressed to the nines, looking super hot? Anybody?
Not jealous, more so he knows the Patch Cafe, and he's just a little worried for her.
Might be smelling Barney's intentions on her too, because Barney seems to sort of dig her a little.
I think Barney digs who all the waitresses, and
I think so too.
he takes at least a crack at getting with all of them.
But it's like he's got a sense of honor. It doesn't seem like he takes advantage of them. Like, as far as he's just like, "I'm Barney. I'm cool. It's nice to meet you. I'll give you some base life advice, and I'll look straight into your soul with my eyes, and maybe you just dig me." Like, he doesn't seem like he's an operator. Just seems like he does dig all the waitresses. I think you nailed it. I don't know. What do you think, Radioactive? Is Cooper a little jealous here? Is he smelling Barney sniffing around?
No, I don't think so. I
No?
think he's. I don't know. Maybe I take him to be a little bit naive.
He is naive. I took him to be a little bit insecure. And this is where he's going to go talk to Grandma. And it's the same beat as talking to Ariana's father. But this is now the father of her baby, of the great grandmother of her baby, grandmother of Elvio, possibly sister or aunt to Michael Pena. Who knows? Because I think that the other people on the crew were his nephews. I just don't know. It's a long time since we like kaboom boomed them into the next life, and all we know is Grandma loves the baby, is now being somewhat fair to Ariana. She wouldn't lift a finger to help her or leave her own house, but if Ariana goes over there and helps her fold laundry, which is what we did at Grandma's house, Grandma will talk to Cooper and once again tells him he's too skinny, he should eat. And she understands what's going on in sort of a wise and sort of she's pretty worldly and pragmatic, isn't she, Jerm? This kooky old lady.
Well, yeah, she has the life experience for it.
She's seen this kind of terrible stuff happen to other people.
Yeah, she's been on the patch for probably 60, 70 years now. So,
well, the patch is only active
not
for
the first
30.
time it's happened.
The patch is active for 30, but she's been living that life that long. You're right. She was on some other oil-rich area somewhere up the street not too long ago. So it says May 31st, Fallout Boy. Fallout Boy is coming to town, Jerm. They'll be there on Memorial Day. It's not Memorial Day yet. So Taylor Sheridan likes Fallout Boy, or Fallout Boy was someone that got a song in the soundtrack. There's a few songs in this episode, but they're really back mixed and they're not important. We only hear one of them really up front and for real. And we hear the one at the bar kind of at medium volume. There's two other songs that are just playing in the back where they don't even pay attention to them. I wasn't the hugest Fallout Boy fan. Anyone here like them? Are they any good? I'll take that as a no, and we don't know.
I couldn't name a song.
They had some prominence, though. They were big when Angela was in Heroes. So Angela's at the bar. Everyone's kind of now colliding again at the Patch Cafe, the only bar in town, aside from the one at the country club that we found out about so far. Cammy, for whatever reason, is in Midland. I guess
this is the
this is
club.
Fort Worth.
Yeah,
oh, this is the country
Fort
club. This is Fort Worth. Okay, but it's not the Midland Country Club. This is the Cattleman Club in Fort Worth. That's right, because Angela flew there. All right, so this is the club that there's a restaurant upstairs and that weird private club downstairs. Is that where they are?
Yeah.
It's where Andy Garcia hangs out. And if you want to kill someone downstairs, you might be able to tip your way out of it. Certainly no one down there is going to say anything. So they're dancing and drinking and having fun. Demi Moore is dancing. Andy Garcia and Landman trade a few more barbs. This bar seems a little more down to earth. That's why I feel like it's the Patch and everybody went to Midland. Or they're just like a slightly different bar in Fort Worth. Because this is maybe one of the like more collegey or more roadhousey or at least more like everyman sort of bars. Like they're not like only allowed to go to the wealthiest bar in town. So I don't get it. This doesn't look like their usual digs. They usually go to places with like crushed velvet carpets and like velvet, and like leather wallpaper kind of a thing. That's their environment, like the corporate environment. They're at a bar that we would meet at for lunch. So I don't know why they're here, but basically, Landman gets told, you're not going to get out of this easy. And he's like, and the final conversation is like, why is Cammy sort of weird towards you? And he's like, well, me and Monty started out as Landmen together, and he leveled up to Super Landman, and so did I. but I couldn't hold on to Super Landman. I ended up getting bumped out of that. I ended up with no money, balls on my ass. Monty picks me up because he leveled up, basically is the implication. And he needed a landman the way I need Cooper to be my landman because I've leveled up to have Monty's old job. Monty had loyalty to me, made me his landman. He lived life in Fort Worth and did his thing. I was landman, taking care of the things here on the patch and making sure there was no problems. And then basically I burned. It's because I burned out and lost everything that Cammie's a little weirded out by me. I'm like a shadowy reflection of what should have happened but didn't happen to Monty, and still might happen to her. Guys, what did you think? Germ, go ahead and tell me your thoughts on this encounter between Andy Garcia and Tommy, where he says, "Yeah, I'm sort of like I'm the inverse of what happened to Cammie and Monty."
No, it's just the backstory we already got. It's just getting translated to the Sicario. And he's going to find a way to use it to his advantage.
That sounds to me about right. Did you have any thoughts on this final encounter between Tommy and Andy Garcia, Radioactive?
Yeah, I thought this was a very interesting discussion between the two of them.
They had cool intensity.
Well, the interesting thing is he's trying to give, or at least you get the impression he's trying to give Tommy advice. And I thought the wording he used was very interesting. He says, these sharks are going to come after you. Referring to them in the third person, not counting himself.
Right.
So I found it a little surprising how this conversation went. It was almost like he was trying to be his mentor somewhat in an odd way.
Financially, at least, yeah. And sort of like how to navigate the highs and lows of business. Yeah, it's like, Tommy, you're just too high strung. I love his jacket here, by the way. I thought it was extremely well dressed. Germ, that was our episode, by the way, guys. That's Landman, episode 6. We step away and we'll find out what goes on in episode 7 as we start to ramp. I have a funny feeling we're going to ramp up the stakes and ramp up what happens as we get ready to finish out season 1 of Land Dude, which is a great show. This episode, not like episode 5, closer to the previous episodes, but still not a straight up formulaic episode in the sense that we've been used to. I'll hold off till last. I'll let Germ go first. Germ, you want to give a grade and thoughts on episode 6, Dark Night of the Soul?
Well, we have good development for the Sicario. I can't remember the character name. Andy Garcia, great actor. Every scene with him and Billy Bob Thornton in it is probably the best scene in the episode. Sam Elliott is getting great lines, always has a great speech. We are calming down a bit and getting more serious, which they probably have to. I ended up giving the episode a B+.
That's fair. I would say this: they what they did was they maintained the stakes and maintained the importance of them without raising them, which is kind of a good idea, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let me just take a quick look here. Andy Garcia's character, the reason why you can't remember his name, you could call him Rooster if you want. He's got like 5 names. He's got his character name, which like they call him by his last name. He's got a first name that his wife uses. And he's got his mobster name, which is Galino, which is Italian for Rooster. Although he is a Cubano, like anti-Castro gangster, as well as a card-carrying, like Sicario, Mexican mobster, as well as tied to the old school La Cosa Nostra mob. It is really, really something how mobbed up and dangerous he is. But now it would be Radioactive's turn to give us his impressions on this episode. Tracking back towards more familiar territory, but again, a different kind of episode than we've gotten. It seems like maybe they're settling into a formula where they're a little more comfortable. Go ahead, Radioactive. Your thoughts, sir.
Based on the scenes between Sam Elliott and Billy Bob Thornton's characters, and also Andy Garcia and Billy Bob Thornton's, I'm giving this episode an A.
It's fair.
It's a very strong character episode, but it was, I think, a necessary one.
It was slower, but not for lack of being interesting. It just, they pulled their foot off the gas. It was like, after a while, if the story is so shocking, they're going to grab you by the back of your neck and put your head under in freezing water for a moment. They got to pull it up for a second so you can gasp for breath and appreciate it. Like the level of seriousness of your situation is the only way I can put it. They didn't take their foot off the gas of the stakes. The stakes are very much in operation. It's just that we step back from like reasserting them. We said them enough once. You know, he says it to Cooper. They restate the stakes when they talk to Demi Moore, and then they don't revisit them heavily, except to keep saying, you know, Andy Garcia's like, you know, I am the guy in the driver's seat. And Tommy's like, I do not like not being in the driver's seat. And Andy Garcia is just like, you know, I am the guy in the driver's seat, and it's just going to be that way. We're going to do this my way, and I am the guy in the driver's seat. And Demi Moore is just like, you know, we ain't in so much trouble with him doing this, and we don't know for sure he's a Sicario. And Tommy's like, listen, you're making a choice to believe he's not a Sicario. He's totally a Sicario. So the stakes are intact. We didn't need to raise the roof. Character development was pretty good. We didn't have anything that devastatingly shocking. I'll just hit my panel up with, was there a high and low of this episode or something that you thought was standout? You can give me an example of all three or just one or none. Go for it. We'll start with Germ. Germ, a standout or a high or a low? Or all three?
The low would have to be the stuff with the engagement ring. The
exercise
from
club
Cooper. Yeah, the exercise club to Cooper actually talking with the grandmother. That all seemed pretty pointless. The high point,
acting, but yeah,
the high point seems to revolve around whatever Sam Elliott, Billy Bob Thornton, and Andy Garcia are doing. If we can get a scene with all three of them together, that would probably be as good as it could get.
I was going to say Andy Garcia, they keep him away from Sam Elliott, but when either of those people is with Tommy, we get superior character development, superior scenes, and superior acting. I thought the performances were real tight throughout this whole episode, and I will also... B+ is about right. Maybe it's an A-. It's right in there. It was real good. I thought that it was an enjoyable episode, and I thought it was a high-quality episode 6, climbing down from an episode 7 that was almost Whiplash-worthy, sirs and madams.
You mean episode 5?
Sorry, episode 5. That was almost Whiplash-worthy, sirs and madams. So what I would ask everybody is please hit up this with a like. Get as many likes on this as you can as we come through during the week. Please, sirs and madams, if you haven't hit the like now, please do so. Power this one out there as much as you can. I want to thank my panel. There's not a lot to talk about. I would just, I guess, give everybody a moment to forecast where we go next week. I hope that we don't go back to the old folks' home is the first thing I'll say. And maybe we dropped a storyline with Sam Elliott and Shelby that should not be picked back up. I don't know what to say about that one. Germ, your thought for next week? We're going to get another Dallas Cowboy reference. Will Troy Aikman show up? What's going to happen next week?
You can always get a Dallas Cowboy reference. But I think something's going to happen with Demi Moore's character. She's going to cross a line with Tommy.
maybe cross a line with Andy Garcia where he's like, I fair game you for Sicario treatment. Who knows, right? He's still that dangerous.
It's possible, but I think he's going to turn the two of them against each other. Tommy and I can't remember her name.
Cammy.
Cammy, yeah.
She's scoffed at him 3 straight weeks, hasn't she?
Yeah, there's going to be some serious heat between them.
Yeah, I don't think you can keep scoffing at Tommy. By the way, again, people over on the vertical feed, there's a link pinned to the top of the chat to take you over to the landscape feed where there are no ads. Radioactive, your thoughts on this episode as far as, I think we talked about, did we talk about your high and your low and anything memorable?
No, I didn't get a high or low. I'd say the high was the scene between father and son, principally there at the
horse show,
with the horse show, or the rodeo. Actually, it's the rodeo, but
okay, yeah, I think it might have been.
But I'd say that was probably the strongest scene, and second was the one between Andy Garcia and Billy Bob Thornton at the bar. And as far as weakest, probably the weakest was the scene between the grandmother and Cooper. That was kind of a little bit more filler, but for that side storyline they're developing, it made sense for where they're going with it.
I agree.
I'd say that the biggest shocker was also finding out that Cooper doesn't know how to frickin' use a grill.
Yeah, he's lost a little bit of intelligence every week.
Yeah, his IQ level is going down quite a bit, so he doesn't know. It
seemed to stabilize momentarily.
Is going to boot him out of the propane shop, and yeah, I don't know. I gotta agree with the grandmother on that one. I mean, if he's in Texas, he better know how to he better know how to use a grill, and he better know how to make salsa. What's up with that?
I'm with the grandmother on that one too. I would say that is the low point of the episode only because of this. The other low point of the episode had 2 scantily clad women sweating and working out in it, so that was fun.
Well, you said that was the low point?
No, I said the grandma was the low point because the other most boring part of the episode at least had 2 hot women in it.
Actually, there was. I'm going to say more than 2. We
saw some of the other ladies working out, and they were hot too.
Well, you're forgetting about the scene with the Lucas Oil girls.
Oh, that's right. We got like 7 pinup girls in a row. Yeah, like we had the whole Lucas Oil. Half their calendar girls were there. We saw a lot of hot women.
Hey, they got credited at the end of the episode. I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't, but I figured they should have.
There was at least 2 of them got credited.
I think some of them had to be actresses because they spoke. They spoke, so they had to get credit.
So those are the 2 that were given credit. It
was like 6 real Lucas Oil girls, and then 2 beautiful actresses added on to them. Is probably and like they were the ones who spoke because they spoke. They had to get like Screen Actors Guild permission. If I have that one right. So anyway, guys, 30 likes would be great. It would super help. Landman has been a typical streaming series as far as our experience and how it's worked out with the views. Sort of gone down every week, and we'll probably rally back as we get into the home stretch of the show. And then all episodes will just spike. Hello to everyone who will be watching next year. It'll be now for you when you see this, but 12 months after we make this, as Landman 3 gets ready to come out, I'm sure that views will spike. We all enjoyed episode 7. I thought it was fun. I think it was episode 6. We thought it was fun. It was a little bit less stressful than episode 5. I will agree with everyone who said that episode 5 had kind of like a high stakes, high stress feel to it. I was glad to have a little bit of not so much normality, but a little bit of like a less insanely paced life and a less insanely paced story that wasn't as dense with events and dense with jeopardy and dense with so many things that we had to really consider deeply This episode was more light, entertaining, and a little bit of a comedic tone to it, and a little bit of a lighthearted tone with plenty of drama mixed in, but not super high stakes anymore, just maintaining stakes. So I felt it was enjoyable, and it was an A as an episode 6 and an A minus in the world of Landman. That's kind of the way I would put it. This was the episode 6 we needed. Because if we go back to intensity too soon, like, we're not going to be able. The show would have to have killed a couple of people or done something wildly intense to maintain the drama. And we're down to just 3 more Landmans, just 3 more episodes, and we're done, guys. It's been a long and wild road so far in the first 7 episodes, but I'm entertained. Before we wrap up, and we're going to wrap up early, I'm going to say so far, 6 episodes in, we got 3 left. I thought that this was, or 4 left. I thought that this was really, so far it's been a pretty good ride. Nothing has offended my sense of right or wrong or my sense of logic. And I've learned a few things from Landman, and it's been a fun ride so far in season 2. Germ, what are your thoughts at 6 episodes in, looking at episode 7 coming up?
Yeah, it's been fun so far. Looking forward to what they actually do to set off the major conflict and if they actually resolve it in this season.
Next week, we go beyond what this panel has ever done with Taylor Sheridan. We'll hit episode 17. I believe 17 episodes. 18 episodes is all we had with 1923. What was it? It was 10, then 8. This season is scheduled for 10 episodes, and I saw the release dates. They are a week apart on Sundays until the middle of January. So we're going to release 4 more weekly on Sundays. It doesn't look like a mashup is planned now. Maybe extra filming was done. If the story had problems, they seem to have dealt with it. That's my final question. Does anyone sense damage control, and does anyone sense it was successful? I sense moderate damage control and really high level of success, at least looking at it in episode 7. It could fall apart. Maybe they jeopardized everything to kick the can one more episode, but this episode, everything seems fairly restored and fairly, like, I believe things again, the way I didn't believe them for the last 2 weeks. Germ.
Yeah, if there was any damage control, they smoothed it over completely. I never really saw any damage done earlier, maybe just a little bit of bad sequencing with the scenes, but that's about all. So
there may have been chaos more than there was anything else. There may have been some chaos rather than recutting. They may have been right up against a deadline, or someone wasn't available. Who knows? All right. So question goes to Radioactive. Radioactive, do you feel that maybe we tried to change direction on a couple of stories and did some damage control around mid-season? We didn't go to the old folks' home this week, sir. I know that you're disappointed on that.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely disappointed there. I mean, that's like the highlight.
No butt plug jokes.
That is such a highlight in this program. Overall, overall, this show, I think, is in a much better position than at least what I experienced watching the Yellowstone prequels. To me, they're hitting on all cylinders on this show.
They're not capped off as to when they have to end either.
And well, yeah, I think there's several good signs. I think that this overall storyline is much better produced or written, I should say. The show is in a much better position overall. You can tell that the actors are really having a good time on set, because if anything, if there's any like nuance to like the editing going on, is you can tell where a lot of the cast are about to just like break out laughing, and they cut it. You can almost tell where they're about to start laughing.
They do seem to be having fun.
To me, that's a good indication that they're actually having a lot of fun on set.
They like their work environment.
Well, yeah, and in this, at least for this show anyway, I mean, it all depends on the directors and everything, but it's pretty clear that the relaxed attitude is paying off for them in spades. That the fact that they're able to, kind of joke around a little bit, probably on set, and still be in character, and then kind of turn it off. And I think it shows that they're having a good time, yet they're able to emote their characters very well, and it's nothing's this behind the scenes is distracting them.
I agree. It seems to me that this is a good place to work. Billy Bob was out there making some more base comments about how people should shut up and just be professional actors, calling out Hollywood standards a little bit as being ridiculous, and praising Taylor Sheridan. He said that all that stuff about The View and the stuff about alternative energy, he said that Taylor Sheridan likes to get his personal views out there in the show. And he said that those things came from Taylor Sheridan's mind and heart. And to which I say, Taylor Sheridan's about one of the most even-handed guys in everything. Like, he considers all sides of all situations when he writes these scenes, or he's a deep thinker. And I guess he would have to be. There's more Taylor Sheridan going on. I believe that there is a movie in the process, maybe something to do with Sicario coming out. I think it might be for Paramount. I have to check up on Taylor Sheridan's schedule right now, but he's in the midst of doing some stuff. And this episode, pretty good. And I thought that, again, Landman continues to be a quality show. Check out our Landman video essay to start off the season. My tagging really killed that one. It wasn't LSD. Turns out LSD Man is not a really good YouTube tag for your video. But thank you all. Please hit the like and follow buttons. We want to get 30 likes on the landscape stream if possible. But you know what? 10 is great. It's as much I can thank, and I thank everyone for your time. What a wonderful gift to give us. Miskatonic says he thinks some shenanigans will occur in the last episode with the bank lawyers, which will set up season 3. That's a safe bet. Galino is already warned Tommy that Cammy and her cronies might oust him if he doesn't play ball. Yeah, he has warned Tommy that Cammy's like loving his money and loving his style. So Miskatonic is right on the money with this, with several good observations. He gives the episode an A-. It's improved from last week's plot hole-ridden narrative. I agree. Last week was confusing, wasn't it, Miskatonic? Not bad, but mildly confusing and a little bit chaotic, but not to the point of insanity. They had chaos awareness. It wasn't as chaotic as the most chaotic episode of 1923, was it, guys?
Oh, no, not by a long shot.
Nowhere near.
No.
So we've seen Taylor Sheridan recover from much more chaos than this. This might we be seeing the price of doing business? Is streaming like Monday Night Football? Monday Night Football remakes its schedule in the middle of the season where it picks teams that are still relevant as opposed to the teams that would have been good if it was last year. Taylor Sheridan comes in there and just tweaks things.
It's possible, but I haven't really seen him need to tweak much.
I think he might have made this one with the idea in mind that he might need to come back and film a few more scenes, and had some of the actors more ready for it than others. It seems as though Sam Elliott not as available as, say, Ali Larder and Rebecca to pick up scenes, because they could have changed Rebecca's story. She could have gone to the pirate dinner with that dude. But now, in light of the events of this episode, Jerm, I'd ask you, do you still think that was her date, or there was something else going on at that dinner that they wanted to get rid of? Because it seems like this guy organically fits into the role that they have him in as like somewhat of a young up-and-coming expert is the only way to put it. He's too young to be anything but a young up-and-coming expert. He's not an experienced expert.
I think they just made a filming mistake for the dinner. They either forgot to include him or forgot that they included Rebecca in the scene and just added in a throwaway line to get her mentioned in there.
Or even more mundane, there was just an outright mistake. They had to refilm something and they couldn't get her back to do the joke that she did with her boyfriend or with Dale. She could have been joking around with anyone there. So, and then Sam Elliott's character seems to change direction from being miserable to being okay with the whole thing. But that's this week's episode. And we'll be back next week with more Landman. Jerem, what's going down on your channel this week? Tomorrow we have
Critters 3 tomorrow
Critters
at 6
3.
p.m. Pacific time.
A great and mighty classic. This one with Academy Award winner Angela Bassett, if I'm not correct. Correct?
I believe so.
All right. So Academy Award winning movie Critters tomorrow. Critters 3 tomorrow with me and Germ. Landman, and we'll be landmanning it up. I don't know if Germ will be back or not. Tuesday, sir, maybe you'll be around with me, or we'll pick a time Tuesday that we can do a show afterwards. But Thursday night for sure. It's Christmas, so we don't know what will happen. And it really looks like more than anything else, Admiral will have to do a Friday show to pick up some views and to say hi to people and to maintain his weekly streaming. Because I don't know, Christmas, if we go on late, and it won't be that late for you. I don't know what you're up to, Jerem. We'll figure it out later, but maybe later on Christmas. We'll see what the level of interest is and what we can deliver to you. But thank you, buddy. And listen, all of the questions and comments, and if you come through later, questions, comments, and likes really make a huge difference and really, really help me bring you the best Landman that I can get. I thank all of my panelists, and I thank you, my chat, and Buddy, my mod, for doing such a great job. It has been a fantastic experience doing Landman with you again. I'll be back. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow. I don't know. But certainly there'll be something on Tuesday. The 23rd, we might have Nurul Derp. Germ, you want to be there for that one, don't you?
I may or may not be able to make it on that day.
If you can't, you can't. But Nurul Derp does the CGI Star Wars stuff and Star Trek stuff. And I have persuaded them to possibly do an Enterprise-related one.
Oh,
so that
yeah,
will
he definitely
really
needs to do that.
Yeah, we could really. I'm trying to do everything I can. I am going to try to push the rock up the hill, or as Steve Smith would say, bring the oranges down the stairs.
Or you know what you could have? Ask him to do a Landman Star Trek crossover.
That would be good for this channel, but I think my purpose now is to try to get some virility going for Star Trek United, and that a day of virility wouldn't hurt it at all.
Or he could do a parody of Soy Trek Academy.
That would also be a good idea, but we've got like 3 more weeks on that one. I got something on their time to turn around and create is like something like 10 days of work and rendering. We'll get more specifics on them. Maybe they'll be here the 23rd. The holidays, please have a Merry Christmas if I don't see you before then. And after the holidays, Tachyon Pulse Man will be here. And we'll get to the bottom of some of these things like Sidetrack. Like I said, he's personally an okay guy to me. We're going to give him credit for being personally honorable. He does seem okay. We're not going to rake him over the coals, and we'll find out what's going on with his bold Star Trek predictions, be he a forecaster or a leaker. Germ, I'm going to bet that he's going to say, look, I'm a forecaster. What do you think, sir?
Kind of hard to tell at this point.
I'm leaning towards he's going to say he's a forecaster. Radioactive, any thoughts on Tachyon Pulse? A guy I found because you turned me on to Sidetrack.
I'll just say tacky on, tacky off, make circle.
What did you think of the shocking revelations about Sidetrack's numbers while live? Sir, they don't touch the numbers that you guys are giving me right now. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your love and loyalty.
You know,
Join my channel. You'll be well treated.
To be honest, I haven't really tracked it that closely. So I know you're tracking some of the analytic stuff, but
with 32,000 subscribers, they got 2 people live.
Oh,
watching.
well, that
one was
all right.
me.
That's a little curious. Let's just put it that way.
Very controversial.
Yeah,
sir.
very controversial. But all right, whichever.
We should ask around. Should we ask the Tachyon Pulse what's up with Sidetrack?
Sure. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
All right. Well, that's going to be a wrap on this one. We love you all. Please, leave me your Landman comments. Ask me your Landman questions. I'll give you my Landman theories, or give me your Landman emojis. We added a Landman emoji that you guys will be able to see. Let me show you right now. Our brand new Landman-oriented emoji is the Landman tile. There it is in all its beauty. You can use it. It's the Landman GIF emoji. Sorry, you know what I mean. So please use that Landman emoji, and you know what? Enjoy. And I will see you guys during the week. You know what? You love her. You've become accustomed to seeing her, and yeah, Buddy is correct. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for your precious time. It means it's the ultimate compliment. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And we send you off with a look at beautiful Sydney Sweeney. Bye, guys.